A conservative evangelical pastor by the name of Rodney Howard-Browne said this week that Jesus would absolutely, to quote him, beat the crap out of John Bolton. Now, Howard-Browne, again, conservative evangelical pastor, has been to the White House, has laid his hands on Donald Trump and prayed for him with other evangelical pastors. And Howard-Browne believes that we have a duty, a loyalty to Donald Trump, which, before I even get into the issue here, is a little ironic, right? This guy's a pastor. He's supposed to be a man of God. He's supposed to be a guy that's at least pretended to read the Bible, but he says our loyalty should be to Donald Trump. Pretty sure. In fact, I think it's actually one of the commandments. You're loyal to one person according to that book, and it sure as heck isn't Donald Trump. But here is what Pastor Rodney Howard-Browne had to say in a tweet storm earlier this week. This was all directed at John Bolton. You are a slime ball of the highest order. I should have knocked your sorry butt through the door of the Oval Office into the Rose Garden when I saw you. I would have gladly been arrested. What a Benedict Arnold. I am glad you were fired. That was followed by 5 exclamation points, by the way. I have no respect for someone who is disloyal to the president and loyal to deep state. And then there's a space, and then there's 3 exclamation points. And then he continues, no respect at all. What is this, Rodney Dangerfield? Good God, no respect at all. What a globalist sellout. And that is where things take a turn to the crazy. Because he then says, what would Jesus do? He would have made a whip and beat the crap out of him. Yes, Jesus Christ, famed whip maker of the Bible, that he used to beat the crap out of people. We talk a lot about the fact that a lot of these evangelicals seem like they've never read the Bible, but I'm willing to bet that Rodney Howard-Browne has probably never cracked that book at all. Making whips and then beating people with them is not something Jesus ever did in the Bible. That's just not a thing that he did. And I don't know why he thinks that suddenly Jesus Christ would come down to earth, be like, somebody get me some leather. I gotta make a whip real quick because I saw John Bolton walking down the street and I need to beat the crap out of him. Jesus was not necessarily known as somebody who would go out and openly assault people for not being loyal to political leaders. My God, Rodney Howard-Browne is a complete fraud. And I hope that every member of his flock, wherever the heck that may be in this country, understands that. Because he clearly doesn't know what Jesus was about, what Jesus did or said, and what he taught to his disciples. Because I can promise you, somebody who grew up in a church, went to Catholic school for years and years and years, I can promise you, we never once learned a lesson about how to follow in Jesus' footsteps by making whips and beating the crap out of people who didn't fall in line with the politics of the day. Just not something they do in religion. What are you doing? It's over. The video's over. I'm done complaining about everything and that's it. The end. Leave. Well, okay, if you're going to stick around, maybe you should give us a like, a comment, a share, or just subscribe to stay connected with all of our content. Or maybe you should consider becoming a member for some exclusive content and perks. Just follow the link in the description. Now, go. Just go.